when I got the email that it was like approved NBA credential, I started bawling my eyes out.
People think it's very different, like being on TV versus competing, but there's a lot of thinking on your feet quickly.
Journalism will survive in some form or another, and it needs people to be dedicated to it, and I'm there for that.
If I had to say something to, me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, before I started this whole journey, it would be just to take the risks.
My favorite quote that I always say all the time is the answer is always no unless you try.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Holden Conversations. Started in 2020, the Log Off Movement is a non-profit, youth-led organization that helps young people build a better relationship with social media. Since its founding, Log Off has started numerous campaigns and has received national attention around its effort to make social media a safer space. Today with me, I have one of its co-founders, Clara Wasserman, who also is casually a member of the Forbes 30 Under 30 class of 2025. Clara, thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, Holden. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, thank you. So my first question is, I obviously know you started this with your co-founder, Emma Lemke, who unfortunately could not be here today because she's not feeling well. But I want to know the power that you guys had to start this while in high school.
Yeah, of course. So, an interesting fact about how everything started was I was actually living in the Netherlands. Emma Lemke was living in Birmingham, Alabama. And it kind of just demonstrates the message about how global this problem is, that in totally different parts of the world, we were both feeling very negative about how we were using social media and our technology usage. And Emma, started Log Off for a high school project, and that led her to kind of appear on a YouTube channel. And she was like speaking about the problem. I found her on YouTube after scrolling endlessly, and I thought this girl's really astute. I really resonate with her message, and I want to be a part of the change that she's making. So that's kind of how we got into contact, and we decided to kind of revamp Log Off into what it is today.
How do you think COVID kind of helped the mission or transformed it in a lot of ways? Because it's obviously was a tense time and one where more than most times people are going to have social interaction.
I think that's exactly right. That I think COVID really highlighted our dependency on technology, or really heightened how we use technology. And in a time where we were deprived of social interactions, which are so essential to kind of our mental health and our well-being, we kind of saw how really being only on social media and being highly dependent on social media, really how that detriments your mental health. So I think it just kind of highlighted the problem, made it something that it was front and center in a lot of people's minds, and kind of really kickstarted the intensity of the mission.
But don't you think at the same time it was probably also an important uh, message, and you guys lean into this a lot, to have moderation, right? Because I've listened to Emma go on TV a lot, and it's about the moderation. Social media is not going anywhere. So, in a time where it's mass consumption, how do you try to lean into that message of moderation?
No, of course. So a key thing about us is that we're not anti-social media, we're
Yeah.
not anti-technology. We really recognize that technology is here to stay and it's not going to go anywhere. On the contrary, it's going to become more central to our lives. So it's more about how we shape our relationship with social media and the addiction that is this like kind of substance that we don't really know how to handle. So a philosophy that we really have is to really educate the young, really advocate with the young, that just how we learn in school about addictive substances and how to like not engage with them, or just like how to like strategies for how to like navigate those settings. We also have to teach our young kids also how to navigate social media and their technology usage in order to really be in control of how they're using and spending their time.
How do you personally try to find that balance for yourself?
That's a great question. Like me and Emma, we're not perfect. You can always, like we have faults in our usage of social media, but I think something that really differentiates our efforts is that we're really mindful and like we're conscious that this is an addiction and this is something that is not in our specific control, like the algorithm, but we do our best to, if we catch ourselves scrolling, to be like, why am I scrolling, or am I actually actively consuming and like cognizant of what I'm doing? And it's kind of those mindfulness gaps or mindfulness steps that we take that really help us really take back our time and identify like, is this how I want to be spending my time and spending my energy? Also, when we're speaking to people or going out to dinner, we really make an effort to, or when we're going out, to really make an effort of keep the phone in the purse. If you receive a text message, you don't have to answer it immediately. Like, you can finish your conversation and then open your phone. Like, there's no need to interrupt a social interaction to give attention to something that will always be there for you.
Then what do you say to people when they're in that moment? They feel so bare. They feel like there's a part of themselves missing. Because I think we've all been to dinner, we hear that buzz, our phone's on do not disturb, and we still feel that buzz. And we're like, I need this. I need to stop everything I'm doing. What do you kind of say to people in that moment? Or what would your advice be in that moment?
Yeah, well, our philosophy isn't really to preach or to lecture. It's more of a peer-to-peer conversation because we recognize that no one likes to feel inferior to anybody else, and that's also not our intention. We just want to maybe lead by example because really recognizing that people people know that they spend too much time online. People know that their reaction to a phone buzzing is not normal. And because it's an addiction, it's something that it's hard for them to control. So in those moments, you maybe try to remind them like, hey, like your intention in this dinner was actually not to use your phone, and let them have the choice of like whether it's really important for them to check their phone or really important for them to stick to their guns of like, let's put it away. It's really their choice. We're just here to educate and to like advocate and just make people feel more aware, but never to force or to preach.
Yeah, and I also feel like just something that we all see on social media is a lot of people acting like authoritative voices, whether it's
Yeah.
on where the best restaurants are in a city or the best shoe brands. So having that message from young people being like, hey, we're not saying that we know everything, but we know that moderation is important with no matter what we do, because like you just said, social media is kind of a drug. It's a very important message.
I completely agree, especially during a time where a lot of things are polarized. There's a lot of extremes. I think the message of moderation and it's your choice and you decide your relationship and the autonomy that you have is pretty healthy and refreshing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I want to go back to one thing though that you just said, which is the fact that we are young. And so I bet there have been a lot of people, whether that's with, because you guys are a nonprofit, talking with other companies or just hate online, where people are like, you guys don't know what you're talking about, but because you're young. But at the same time, we are the social media generation, as people like to say. So
Mhm.
how do you stay an authoritative voice, or how does Logoff stay an authoritative voice while also being full of young people? Like I know that the admin is like all young people.
Yeah, and that was a really important aspect that we wanted to emphasize, that Log Off is a youth-led movement for youth. Because there are a lot of good nonprofits and good advocacy spaces that are led by adults and for children. But we recognize that again with the peer-to-peer emphasis, it really changes the message when somebody my age is hearing from me instead of an adult who may think that they have everything under control, that like, hey, this might be a problem. Like it kind of changes the tone a little bit. But how we stay kind of authoritative or just like know our space and hold our space in this in an industry where it is populated by a lot of adults, we really try to really stick to what we know. So our emphasis on our experience, like you said, this is the social media generation. We have experiences that are totally foreign to adults, and we really try to stick to that message and stick to what we know and also anchor ourselves in professionals' advice. Like we don't do our own research studies. We really try to anchor ourselves on research studies that are published, that are legitimized, that kind of reinforce our message. But the main idea of Log Off is this is a youth perspective, and we're giving our voice about this problem from the youth perspective.
And also another element, and it was absolutely fascinating to watch Emma Lemke, testify before
Yes.
Congress. Not only testify before Congress, but also talk about her own difficulties with social media. I feel like the weight that that has when you're vulnerable with people and you open up and you say, "Hey, I've had this struggle," makes you it makes you more of an authoritative voice. Do you agree?
I completely agree. I think really sharing your experience makes people feel less alone. Going back to how me and Emma met is that I was in the Netherlands, she was in the US, and despite being in totally different cultures and places, we were feeling the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I think her testifying really kind of got rid of the maybe taboo or the feeling that people are unique in their experience. And no, it kind of bridged that this is an issue and we can work together to make each other feel better.
Do you personally, I'm assuming you've spoken to many people throughout the world, throughout you guys starting this. How have you gotten more comfortable sharing your own stories or sharing your own perspective? Because I bet you have to do that time and time and again, right?
Yeah, of course. Um, Everybody likes to add their own details, and everybody has their own comfort for how they want to share their story. My story specifically is that during COVID lockdown, I felt like I was always online. Like I would go online to feel maybe entertained or happy, and then at some point, I didn't feel anything. I felt tired online, I felt anxious online, and then when I would get offline, I'd be like, I still feel anxious. I still feel not great. Let me go back online. It was just a cycle of I don't know how to be without my phone and I don't know how to also be online. But that's my story. Everybody has a different story, but underlining every story is the idea that we have not practiced moderation. We don't know how to coexist with this technology that's here 24/7 and is always offering new information.
Want to switch gears just a bit. Learning how to build a team at such a young age, right? I feel like during COVID, the everyone's intensity and everyone's maturing in a lot of ways just went up. Went up. There we go.
Mm.
And so, how is that kind of process like having such a heavy burden that you guys put on yourself at such a young age to have a team?
I think one of the best things about Log Off is me having met so many people that we're all volunteers that are dedicating their time and their effort to solving this problem for thousands, millions of kids that they don't even know. It's something that I find very motivating and really rewarding. And um, yes, then the fact that our team is made out of people from all over the world, all over the US as well. There's different personalities, there's different perspectives, which is the most important part. And it has been a great thing to learn how to build a team with so many different people that care so much.
What is one of the benefits to making a team that is like led by what's one of the values for working for a nonprofit that a lot of people don't really know about?
I would definitely think that it really weeds out the people that like it really highlights the people that want to make a change and who are really passionate about this idea, about this problem. Because once again, we are volunteers. I'm a senior college student. Emma just graduated. A lot of our volunteers are really busy doing college applications or in college themselves. So there's a lot of competing things for our attention and for our energy. And I'm just very thankful that the people that we have, because this is a nonprofit and because our message is so strong, that are willing to dedicate some time to making a difference.
Are there like companies or research groups that are more willing to work with you guys because A, you're young, or B, because you're a nonprofit, or C, both?
I think, yeah, of course. I think our identity in this space has brought us a lot of opportunities because we are one of the first completely led youth movements. So yeah, there's always a diversity of companies and partnerships that are wanting to hear youth voices and partner to bring attention to this problem.
What do you think the fact that both co-founders are members of the Forbes 30 under 30 class? Like what do you think that does for the brand?
For the brand, it really, I feel like, legitimizes our mission and that this is important for society. Personally, me and Emma, we were just so shocked and so thankful, and also just like I honestly still can't believe it. People my age, like you look at Forbes and you think like Kendall Jenner, all these like really high like visibility celebrities, and it was just like wow, like people nominated us to and thinking that we were making a change. It was just very rewarding and very like really rewarding to see that something we started in high school was is has become what it is and that people are recognizing the importance of it.
So it had to be very validating.
Super validating, super rewarding, super validating. It was a great feeling.
Did you like apply? Like how did you like how does that process even work?
Yeah, honestly, it was kind of funny. We were nominated. We still don't know who, and we received a survey, like not like kind of an intake interview survey. I was like, Emma, is this like a joke? Like, is this a scam email? We weren't sure, but we filled it out anyways. And then we submitted it and then we never heard back. We never heard back for months on end. So I was like, okay, like we didn't get in or this was just like a scam. And then I was sitting in class and someone tags me in this like Forbes thing and Emma sends it to me and I'm like, what? And I never paid attention in that class again for that day. Because it was just so like they have a rule that they don't let anybody know who has been selected or admitted to the class. So it was really surprising, honestly.
What is that like how has that changed any future business plans or been like how have you guys been able to operate since being members of the class since then? Because it holds a level of credibility that you now have that you didn't have before.
No, I completely agree. I think it has really cemented the idea for me and Emma that this organization can live on and that it is important to people and how me and Emma, we're kind of aging out of the youth of the youth category.
I'm a
So we
senior
want to make sure
in
that
college. Let's not
off.
call ourselves aging out of youth. I'm a senior in college as well. We can't say
Yeah.
out of youth yet.
I am aging out of youth. So we just want to, and we always want to make sure that our mission is still the core of this organization, and we want to make sure that Log Off can live on when me and Emma kind of lose that perspective of the young generation that is experiencing social media as they grow up. So it kind of really cemented the idea that we want this to live on and we want to really truly nurture people in the organization to continue working on this and make it their own.
How does your impact stay though in the space? Like I know you're bilingual, which gives you an opportunity to communicate with people in just many different ways. Like how does the message that you and Emma started continue to grow from your guys' end as you guys age out of it?
Of course, no, we always carry kind of the flag of like digital advocacy and wanting to promote moderation. And we still own our perspectives, which are always invaluable, and everybody's perspective is invaluable. Um, me, me and Emma both have different strengths about how we communicate to people. Emma is very charismatic and very capable of communicating with a big crowd and people about her story. And I think that's something that I have learned from her and something that we think that really helps people get into the mission of Log Off. And whether they join or not, it kind of makes a difference in how they perceive how they want to take future steps with their technology usage.
How do you guys kind of stay humble? And mostly I mean more in your own lives when you're not working on the log off stuff. You guys have done so much already. Um, how do you stay mentally in it?
Um, I think I never see myself as like, for example, with the Forbes thing, to be honest, I forget I'm on Forbes, or I never really like it's not part of my identity, the Forbes thing. Um, I don't really see myself. How can I say this? I feel like I'm always trying to do something else. I'm trying to do something more. I always have new goals in mind. And I feel like that's how you keep yourself humble, by not staying in the past and by always working for something in the future. Always trying new things. I kind of make it a mission for myself that if I'm scared to do something, I will do it in terms of like, am I scared of taking this class, or am I scared of starting this project, or am I scared of like speaking up? That's something that I try to not pride myself, but like try to really focus that in my work and how I want to progress in my life. And I think the failure aspect of trying new things, trying things that you're scared of, is a great way to keep you humble.
And I think another element too is, and I don't want to speak for other generations, but I can tell you for our generation, because we see so much success and how the algorithms are set up, we
Hmm.
I think it's easier to lean into failure because I think starting from A trying to get to Z looks like you're doubling the alphabet because it looks so overwhelming because uh you see the people at the fanciest restaurants so often, or
Yeah.
the fanciest cars, or you know mansions in Beverly Hills, and it's like how do I get there? And we forget
Hmm.
that in order to learn how to run, you have to learn how to walk first.
No, exactly. 100%.
I want to. So when you guys started this, it's definitely came a. It was definitely you guys had a definitely different purpose with it back then now than you have now. How has the purpose of Log Off kind of changed?
I think not so much change, but very much become more focused. So we're, as I've said throughout this interview, that we're very much a youth-led organization for youth, and that is who our focus on, like youth, young people, and just how we see our advocacy, where we're very focused on trying to educate the young, trying to advocate for the young. It's just not so much how it has changed, but more how it has focused over time.
What is the most rewarding part of this?
The most rewarding part of this is seeing the change in real time, whether that be with my own usage or with family's usage or friends' usage. It's really rewarding to see how something I can make a change in my local community. Like, yes, the Forbes thing was very rewarding. It was amazing. It was a national recognition. But for me, what's most rewarding is that in my close circle of people, the people that really matter in my life, or the people that actually interact with Log Off, they come back and say, this has actually really helped me. I feel like the problem isn't solved, but I feel like I have a way to handle it, or I have a way to even approach handling it. And for me, that's immensely rewarding because it's exactly what we made Log Off for.
And then this is my last question. I say this to every guest, which means that when this podcast gets big, it will be sponsored one day. Um, what is advice that you would give your younger self when you realize that you really want to try to make a change in this space that you know now?
Advice, I think like a lot of people, they're very aware of their surroundings, very aware of what everybody else is doing. And I think because I was so aware of what other people's opinions were, I got into log off at a much slower pace than I would have liked to. And for me as a younger self, I would say ignore those voices. Like ignore those people. You're doing something in your own life. This is something that you truly believe in and you're passionate about. why put the brakes on it? Like, continue working on it. Don't stop for people who don't understand what you're doing or who don't find the value in it when they're not even trying to do something for themselves. So I think that would be my message, is that really stick to what you're passionate about and really drown out the people who don't care enough to really understand why you're doing this and who just their gut reaction is to say, no, don't do it.
Do you want to shout out any socials? I know obviously you guys are all smart usage of social media, but do you want to shout out any initiatives or anything, log off website or anything?
Of course, yeah. Like you said, the Log Off website, it's www.logoffmovement.org. And also our Instagram is Log Off Movement.
Thank you all for watching another episode of Holden's Conversations. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss the latest from Holden's Conversations. Until next time.